Nobody wants to believe their kid gonna work at Harris Teeter, bro. Welcome.
Welcome, man. We back.
How you doing, brother?
Good, man.
Episode what?
32, dog. We don't introduce ourselves no more. Do we have to?
I'm James,
Life.
and that's our introduction.
Yep, tuna fork, baby.
We don't need a lot of intros, right? Motherfuckers be like, them are some two thorough motherfuckers.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
I guess the names would help. Okay, they just say thorough 1 and thorough 2.
Yeah.
T1 and T2.
Right. Spell it all crazy.
Yeah.
T-H-U-R.
Thorough.
Thorough.
T-H-U-R-R-O-W.
Not just T-H-U-R-L. Thorough.
Thorough. That's funny. Make it an L. How you been feeling, dog?
Good, man. Good, man.
Week good?
I can't complain, dog. I can't. We still here, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up. I'm at it this morning.
We had a 15-minute conversation
For sure.
just before we started filming and figured,
Fuck it.
let's just add the shit in and
Why not, man?
figure out what's what.
Why not, man?
So, Life and I have both been, I'm saying it like I'm talking to another motherfucker.
Right.
So, we both been through divorce, right?
Yeah.
I remember going through the divorce, and when people would ask me how I was doing, the best way for me to describe it was like actually going through a death.
Right.
And like a mourning.
Yeah.
So even like signing the paperwork and splitting up assets and choosing what's going to be what and the language of everything, it just all felt like something was dying and that there needed to be a mourning period.
Yep. Yeah.
And there's someone close in my life who's going through that process now, and they are actually in the early stages. And watching them process and watching them sort of come to terms with the finality of all of it triggered me to want to kind of have a conversation about death.
Yeah.
Mainly in a metaphorical sense.
Right.
And how moving from like these expectations and attachments to identities and labels and titles.
Yep.
And all of these things that we hold on really strongly to, letting those things go so that we can actually, kind of move to these other positions in life to do different, better things, whatever they may be.
Right. And they're necessary sometimes.
Extremely, man. And so when we were talking about that and having that conversation, then it kind of dovetailed on to, because when I think of death in a metaphorical sense, I think of a release of expectations. Because one of the things that I feel I was really attached to in the marriage was the concept of this, of being committed in whatever way I felt commitment was to like this entity and to this process that no longer existed. And I had to kind of figure out what that new thing, what the new thing, what the new identity, what the new attachment, what the new whatever was.
Is that for you or for just for you?
At the time, it was for me.
Okay.
And so we kind of dovetailed into children and raising kids, and how we need to let go of certain attachments and ideas of how we raise the kids and how we, manage their development and putting them in positions to be self-sustaining,
preparing them and all that.
Yeah, all of that, being grown, and so.
And that's part of it too, man, because a lot of spiritual texts talk about the death of, like, how you have to starve your ego, and how you gotta move from being, when you were a child, you did childlike things, and then you move into being an adult, and what that transition looks like, and what all those transitions look like. Like, a lot of these are transitions. One thing ends, that dies, and then there's another thing that begins. And in between that, the death of that thing and the beginning of the other thing, there's a mourning in there, and there's shit you got to deal with in those pieces.
And what are you? So.
And that goes for the kids too. Like, when a kid gets to a point where he has to not be a kid anymore,
yeah.
Like, what does that look like for them? Because I can't even remember what it looks like for me. Because I always felt like, I think we grew up in a different time, man, where shit moved a little different. So we were, thrust into these positions earlier, and there was no real transition. It was always kind of lingering about.
How do you feel you manage death in that way?
You know what, man? This is it's a recent thing for me, man, because even in, managing death of loved ones and family, just in a more literal sense, and how those relationships ended, and they end abruptly, and then how do you move now that that's not there anymore? You know what I'm saying? You have to make a transition. You have to make a change. So in the metaphorical sense, it's sort of the same thing. Like, once you decide to move on from something, what does that look like? I mean, even moving on, does that, are you cleaning out the shit that you need to clean out in order for you to move on? Or are you just surfacely kind of making these different decisions? Or are you really taking a real step back and analyze what the fuck is really going on with you, right? So then once you move forward not looking back. You move forward not thinking about what it was, because there ain't shit you can do about it.
So how do you?
Oh, okay. Good question. So for me, man, I've always tried to at least take a look at to try to change, like, not just perspectives and outlooks and all that shit, and understanding and resting in what has happened, and be okay with it, right? And not be okay with, but what the fuck word am I looking for? Like, resign to whatever it is in the current space, and not try to be regretful of what it was or whatever, but also try to add a physical thing to how I'm moving forward, right? So, you say, okay, it is what it is. I can't change it, so I need to move forward. For me, I say, well, let me get a new plant. And that me taking care of that plant is a symbol of how I'm moving forward, right? Me watering that plant, me pruning that plant, me taking care of it is a symbol in my mind of me, is a physical symbol of the mental of me for moving forward.
So you, as you're moving forward in your mind, you get something physical that you use to symbolize the transition.
And remind me that I'm moving forward. Like, like, plants are good for me, man. This is a recent thing. Again, by no means am I saying that I got this shit figured out, that I've been doing this shit for 30 years because I haven't. This is a recent thing. Plans for me, man, you have to take care of them in the moment. You can't like automate it. You can't, you can't resign it to someone else. They don't take care of themselves. You have to physically every other day, every whatever, water them. You have to take the plant. You got to repot them. There are things that you physically have to do. Mm-hmm. And that is a physical, and as you watch them grow, it's a symbol of you growing in whatever direction that you're moving forward. So as you take care of it, you sort of are, it's a symbol of taking care of yourself as you start to move forward and grow, for me.
So as the other thing in your life dies, you actually see this other thing in your life grow.
Growing and living, yes. And I've done that, with my mom, I've done that with my dad, I've done that with everything that I think that I struggle with, right? And so instead of me doing the destructive behavior, I have this symbol of something that's living that I can then move forward with.
That's dope, dog.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And again, dog, I stumbled on that shit. My mom passed. She had a plant in her house. And I was like, I wasn't no plant, dude. I didn't know how to grow, you know what I'm saying? I was like, let me take it because I didn't want to leave it. You know what I'm saying? Or throw it away. It just seemed not right. So I took it, and as I started to take care of it, it started to give me like, damn, I see this thing growing, and I'm still like trying to move forward from that, you know what I'm saying, that death. But seeing this growing helped me to take care of it, to see it, this living thing still around, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
It used to be a struggle in the beginning when I would manage. Like letting go has always been a very difficult thing for me to do.
Yeah.
Even letting go of things that were unhealthy.
Yeah.
And so I would just hold on to shit for as long as the situation would allow.
Because even the most destructive shit felt comforting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so now I've gotten so much better at just understanding that death in all of its forms are just a part of living.
That's right.
And that in order to, and that's what I like about what you said with the plant.
Yeah.
Because dying is living.
Yep.
And there's so many parts, and death might, and I'm using the word death, but what I'm really saying is a release of expectations.
Yeah, and change.
And positioning myself for something else.
Yeah.
A transition. Because even with my dad, in his physical death, it's weird, but I also see that as a release of expectation.
For you?
Yeah. There really is nobody else.
Okay, I thought you meant for him. Okay.
No, for me. Because I feel like I still have a relationship with my father, bro.
For sure.
I just feel like it's changed.
That's right.
Into something else.
That's right.
The way we communicate ain't the way we used to communicate when he was alive.
Yep.
I could text the nigga.
Yeah.
I could call the nigga.
Yeah.
Now, I connect with him in a different way.
That's right.
And
that's right.
Can't nobody on the planet tell me that way that I connect with him is not real.
That's right.
And is not valid.
That's right.
It's just shifted.
And connected. Which means it's both ways. It's
right.
An exchange.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a communication.
Yes.
And so the death that I felt was really just me letting go of the expectation that we would only be primarily communicating and connecting in this specific way.
That's right.
And so that has shifted into a new way of connecting and communicating.
Yep.
And so it's the same with like these parts of myself that I need to let go of.
Yeah.
And these ideas that I have about certain things that I hold on tightly to.
Yeah.
but I am getting better at letting go when I know that they need to die.
Right.
Because understanding what that dynamic is actually help new seeds blossom, new flowers of ideas and thoughts and understandings, because I can't walk around with the same expectations, especially when perspective changes, bro.
Yeah.
And this kind of applies to the kid thing, man. Like,
Right.
you've got this, we parents in general, I feel, have this strong connection to this other life.
Yeah.
And
Yes, unlike anything else, dog.
and I don't know what that's like, you know, and
Yeah,
I
you do.
and I
You
feel,
feel it.
I feel bad, not bad.
But you feel it, though.
I do. And so what because here's something I used to always hear with my godson, even with his mom. Oh, wait till you have your own kid. Or wait till you have your own.
Yeah.
And I would be like, well, what do you mean? Like, how does that parent know what my love and connection is for that child?
They don't.
And so in the same way that I don't know what theirs is.
Right.
But I do know that I don't have that kind of connection.
But dog, it's deeper than just a biological connection. Because we all know it's some people with kids who have zero connection and don't give a fuck about them.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So it's more than just a biological connection. When you see a person grow and develop and you're a part of that, and they become like, when you see them do things that you taught them, they become a part of you.
Yeah.
Right? When you instill in them certain things, I don't give a fuck where they came from, they become a part of you. So it's some people who adopt kids who have the same feeling for them, and they're not biologically, quote unquote, connected.
But I'm leaving.
So that's not. It's the connection that you have. And again, for me, when you look at them and you see shit that you teach them, and you see it in them, and you see mannerisms that you have that are in them, not from biology, there's that too, but just from them being around you and you teaching them and being there, that's a connection. That's a connection, dog. That where that is.
So and maybe so you have both.
Yeah.
So you know what that's like.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm leaving room.
Right.
Because I don't have both.
Right.
What bothers me, what I'm saying bothers me, are those who assume that what I have is lower.
And most people who assume that don't have both.
I see what you mean.
You see what I'm saying?
I got you.
If you talk to somebody who has both, I guarantee you they say the same thing I'm telling you.
Yep.
Like, it's way beyond
I feel what you're saying.
biological thing, the shit that they talk
because
about.
everybody who says it don't have both.
Exactly.
You're right. Okay.
Exactly.
So you're right. So there are these expectations that we have of our children.
Yep.
Of children. And there are these connections that we have with them that cause us to act in certain ways.
Yes.
And my question is, and some of them aren't always in the best interest of the child.
Absolutely not.
They're in the best interest of us. They make us feel better as the parents to protect.
Right. It makes us feel like we're protecting them.
Right. When we could actually
be doing some harm.
Yeah. So how does a parent, in going through that process, understand what those expectations are, and then look to try to do something different so that they can potentially have a different kind of relationship with their child?
Yeah, it's, as we talked about, dog, it's tough because, and again, it varies. There are no, like we said, it's not math. You know what I'm saying? It's not 1 plus
It's logic.
Because it's all, it all varies, dog, in how you came up, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that you don't want, going in, you look at this little thing and you are like, what I sort of, and back in those days, what I saw as damage that was done to me, I don't want them to experience that level of struggle, pain, and all of that, right? Mm-hmm. So you do all these, you build up all these walls, and you do make it as easy for them as you can, as smooth. You want to give them everything because you feel like that this perfect little person deserves it, right? But then as you get older, you start to reflect on your own life and understand that the shit that you went through made you better on some level, on most levels, right? Mm-hmm. At some point. So then it becomes, damn, should I insert discomfort into their lives, or should I just help them understand that there's shit that you need to do in a different way, right? And what we talked about earlier was that discomfort seems to be the only way. Like the level of discomfort is what creates the thing that makes you prepared to deal with discomfort. There's no other way to deal with discomfort other than to feel it.
Like, and how else do you deal with death other than just something dying?
Right. And the discomfort of that.
Yeah.
Right. You can't, like, death is uncomfortable. Anything, metaphorically or physically, to deal with as a person, to dealing with it, is uncomfortable. If you want to get rid of this thing in your life and you got to kill it, that shit is going to be uncomfortable. If you have a relationship with this person and they're gone all of a sudden, it's uncomfortable. But there's the other side of that, right? That discomfort leads you to a place that you're not going to get to unless you feel that discomfort. And that's the shortcoming we do with these kids. We try to avoid that discomfort because we don't want to see them suffer. Or we think that it looks bad on us if they're suffering. Mm-hmm. Or struggling, or whatever the case is.
It's a tough proposition, man. And I think that's where some of like the whole rituals of like rites of passage and some of these other things.
That's right.
It all had purpose.
Yep.
And I don't know how. It's like the mama bird kicks the goddamn baby bird out the nest.
Yeah.
It doesn't ask it if it's ready.
Nope. And it doesn't even know if it's ready.
It doesn't even know. It just knows it's gonna be. It's been 6 weeks.
Right.
And you just watch that motherfucker, and they might go all the way down to the ground and just keep going.
Yeah.
But a lot of this shit is on the job training.
And again, dog, that's a hell of a metaphor because the baby bird doesn't understand how to really get those wings strong unless it's in the air. It can't do that sitting in the nest. It can't stretch the wings out and get that air and catch that air and know what that feels like to be able to save yourself unless it's in the air, dog.
So we got a kid at the crib.
And let's clear some terms up. We ain't talking about, because you came to my house one time and you was like a 10-year-old. You was like, you still ain't got no job? You was like, you still.
Life got a 10-year-old son, and the first time I met him, I asked him how old he was, and I was like, you still here?
So let's define some terms, dog. We're talking kids that are like of a certain age, like that rite of passage. And you know what, dog? I'm gonna let you answer that shit, but it's amazing, dog, and incredible, and speaks to a spiritual something that even all those years ago, these cats knew what it meant to move, to transition from a child to a young man, and how critical that was and crucial that was to not only that individual, but their society at large.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The tribe,
there were no instructions. Somebody did it first.
And I think it really, when we talk about like this man and boy thing, I think the most basic of it is kind of like you're self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Are you self-sustaining?
Yep. Yep.
And the reality is maybe some grown motherfuckers who, like, we're self-sustaining in the construct of modern day shit.
Right.
If all of this modern day shit went away, I ain't self-sustaining.
Not at all.
I can't go build a goddamn house.
Nope.
I can't start a fire.
Nope. I can't plant no motherfucking food.
I can't plant food. I can't do none of that.
I couldn't kill a chicken and eat it.
So is that self-sustaining? So for the environment that we are in, we are self-sustaining.
Right.
To the degree, right?
Right.
And so I guess when we're looking at, transitioning from boyhood to manhood, it's that moment where the boy can then become self-sustaining, can be a contributing member to society, because it's not taking care of yourself is just a part of being a man.
That's right.
You also have to be able to take care and contribute to a larger community.
Well, yes, but let's expand that shit to being a person, because there's women who have to go through that shit too.
But that's a different thing for the woman.
It's different, but
it's a different process.
Exactly. But I'm just saying it is a process.
The concept is the same.
Exactly.
The terms are different.
But let me ask you this, dog, and this shit just occurred to me. So we saying that in our environment we are self-sustaining. Do you think that in their environment they are self-sustaining?
Who's they?
If your kid
is 22, you got add the age.
We will say 12, but it should happen at what, 15, 16?
What?
Some level of measurement about how self-sustaining they
Let's say
actually
20, dog.
But that's way too late, man. They're 20-year-old, and you still gotta ask if they're self-sustaining, dog. It's too late.
So
you screwed.
So I think it's going to vary. But my
question was though.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
So my question is, do you think that for their environment, they're self-sustaining? Like they know how
what is self-sustaining?
For their environment, right? We set them up that they don't have to do shit, but go to school, bring their ass home, and chill.
So for that environment, yes, they're self-sustaining.
Go on the refrigerator and eat, put something in the microwave and eat.
So quadriplegic. In his environment, when people bring him food and stick it in his goddamn mouth, he's So there's a key word though. Self.
That's right. But what does that mean?
If you're paying the bills, if you're providing sustenance,
right?
I don't see how self-sustaining
I agree.
is in there.
I agree. But so by that logic, it's some grown ass men.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm with
that. Now, here's the thing though too. Ability and actually doing it are a couple of different things. Some people going through a transition.
Right.
You going through a divorce and you got to take a couple steps back and you might be living somewhere and you might be building some shit.
Clean.
You might need a little bit of time.
Clean.
Might just got out the joint. You trying to do a part 2 to your life.
Clean.
So I'm saying that, do you have the ability? If mama and daddy disappeared, do you have the skill set and problem solving abilities to take care of yourself?
Now take care, and also I guess there's levels, because there is the basic take care of yourself.
Yeah, basic.
And then there's thriving.
Basic.
Those are two different things.
Because so it's a process, right?
Okay.
So a lot of for a lot of them, they supposed to struggle. They supposed to bump their head. They supposed to make some mistakes.
Right.
Yeah. Right. If you just get out there, bro, and you just start out for 2 weeks and all you can eat is ramen noodles, don't call me. Don't call me for shit. This is what the process looks like, man.
Dog, that.
Do you know how motherfucking motivated you gonna be to want to save some money? Do you know how much you learn about solving problems when all you got is $20 to last you 2 weeks and you know you can't go nowhere else?
That's clean. And you ain't got nowhere else to go.
You figure it out.
Right.
These kids are not being put in positions to figure it out. All he got is $100 to last them 3 days.
Yeah. And they put more money. They just,
Cash apping niggas.
They make it as
Venmoing.
Yeah.
Uber eating.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If you don't see
they think, and dog, let's be clean. They think that that's helping. Their intention is to to assist their child. They don't view that as doing damage. They think that sometimes you just need a little help to turn, just a little bit of, let me just give you a little of this, and then I'm gonna back off and let you do your thing. And if you get stuck, I'm gonna help you a little more. It's just a little bit of, that's sort of where it comes from, right? So I don't want to make it seem like these parents are, you know what I'm saying, are not, in their mind, that's where they are.
And that's where the death comes in.
Yes.
Because you got to let go of that expectation.
Go. That's right. That's right.
You just have to let go.
That's right.
In the same way, like this little kid, this image of this, like, because we all got these images, bro. Like, because one of the things that dies when you get a divorce is this title and identity of husband.
Yeah.
Of, like living in a home and having your wife and having your kids. That's a story. That's an identity.
Yep.
And a lot of your actions and motivations can be attached to that title.
Right.
That when you die, now you can still perform the same functions outside of it. You still gonna take care of your kid.
Yeah.
Right? You still gonna be there and support and nurture and love and take care of your ex and all of that. Yeah. But the title of husband, so you've gotta kill that.
Yeah.
To do this other thing. This image that we have, like when you were little, like all parents, when they look at their kids when they 6 months, 2 months, 3 months, they have these imaginings. I ain't never heard of a motherfucker look at their 2-month-old child and be like, that nigga gonna work at the grocery store. He
gonna be bagging and getting the carts from the parking lot.
Paper or plastic Pete.
At 30.
No, that's not.
That's right.
Or he gonna be a waiter at a restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or he gonna be a mechanic.
Yeah.
This ain't what we tell ourselves when we see him in the crib and they kissing us on the nose and talking about how much they, whoa. They be like, he's gonna be the next greatest motherfucker on the planet.
Yep.
Most people are birthing average niggas.
Yeah, but it used to be, like if you was a mechanic, you looked at your kid and you looking at Jones and Sons. You're not looking at...
He gonna take over.
He gonna take over.
He gonna run.
Right.
But even that is...
He gonna be better.
Even that is an identity that you're attached to.
That's right.
An outcome.
Yeah.
An expectation.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff that we're looking at with these kids are expectations.
That's right.
And these are things that we as the adult, as the parent, are projecting onto the child.
Yeah.
That child might want to be something totally different. In most cases, they're going to want to be something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what that something different is going to look like and going to require is something very different than the image that the parent has in the head of their child.
So with that logic, dog, what if they don't want to be, really, they just want to work at Harris Teeter?
That's it.
You good with that?
I'm good with it.
I ain't good with that. Maybe it's expectations, you're right. But I can't rest in, like.
Is your son happy?
I don't give a fuck if he's happy.
That's clean.
I give a fuck if he's happy. Let me. But I think, like, part of what I want to prepare them for is, and I tell them this all the time, is to try your best at something. I don't care what it is. Try to at least put a wholehearted effort at something. At least, the minimum. At the maximum, be good at something. I don't care what it is.
So let's say they do that. That's Harris Teeter for them.
That's cool.
So here's what. So you have an attachment. You think that A plus B equals C in that scenario.
Yes.
He works his motherfucking ass off.
Right.
At something.
Yeah.
Whatever that might be.
Yeah.
And then the outcome of that is going to be something different than motherfucking Harris Teeter. Nobody wants to believe they kid gonna work at Harris Teeter, bro.
Shout out to Harris Teeter.
Shout out to Harris Teeter.
Ain't nothing wrong with working
at 6 months old.
Right.
Nobody does.
Right. Right. He gonna work at Harris Teeter.
But here's a part, because here's what's gonna happen.
He look like a little kid.
Here's what happens, dog.
They don't buy him like the little vests that they
Listen, here's what the fuck
little
happens.
carts they can stack up. Like
you look at that nigga at 17, you be like, this nigga has Harris Teeter work ethic. You can just look at him and tell, like, he been alive long enough.
Right.
You see how he solves problems.
Right.
You see how much you and baby to coddle him and shit.
Right.
And you see how he, you know, like dodges responsibility and all of this. And you know that this is Harris Teeter caliber performance.
And I wonder, do some people look at their kids at that age and say, this motherfucker just ain't smart?
Yes. So what do?
What do you do?
You continue to coddle. So this is what happens, because you be like,
you don't make the adjustment to be like,
what is the adjustment?
Let me get him a trade
what?
or something.
He gotta want that.
You gotta learn how to cut hair.
He gotta want that. So okay, let's say cut hair. Let's say cut hair. He go rent a booth somewhere and he cut hair. Because here's the thing, we all go on your own this, go on your own that. It's cool if he own this and that, the third. Most niggas ain't owning, they own nothing, right? But this is what we projecting onto the kids. So listen, dude want motherfucking cut hair. Did you envision your son cutting hair? Was this your dreams as the daddy when he was 2 months old?
Listen,
when he was 3 months old?
First of all, nothing wrong with cutting hair, though.
Nothing at all.
If that's where you want to be, like if you say that I love cutting hair, I want to own my own shop.
See?
Cool.
It always gotta we gotta be honest, bro. We gotta be honest. We gotta be honest. We gotta be motherfucking 100% clean. Every time we add these shits, we talking about you gotta own. You know what it takes to own your own shit? These niggas aren't built for that.
Who?
These kids.
You don't think so?
No, bro.
I think they more built for it than we were.
While we continue to coddle. If they built for more than what we were, let's start treating them like we was treated.
You think we can treat them like we was treated?
Yeah.
We just talked about how we learned to swim, dog. I couldn't.
Yeah, you could.
You could.
There are multiple forms. Life and I were talking before. And I said, dude, I learned how to swim by getting thrown in the goddamn pool in the deep end 10 feet. And guess what this motherfucker said? Me too, dog.
too.
I swam to the edge. They picked my ass up and threw me back in.
Yep.
That's how we learned how to swim.
Yep.
We didn't go to a class.
Nope.
We didn't have them fucking inflatable joint floaties, whatever them shits is called.
Nope.
We didn't have goggles. If we did, we were sharing them between motherfuckers. They was dirty and bacteria infested and all snot, booger shit. This is how we learn. Niggas peeing in the pool, still swimming.
Yeah.
This is how we learned how to swim.
Yep.
We're cool. Was that traumatic? I don't even know if it is, bro. I remember being scared, but you know what I remember?
Yeah.
How good it felt I remember how good it felt to come up and stay up and still swim.
Yeah.
I remember that just as much as I remember how to fucking going down and being thrown into the pool.
That's right. I remember the panic, right? But I also remember I gotta get my ass to the top of this water.
Yes.
I gotta get there. And then I gotta get to the edge of this pool. And the first couple times, there was panic. But then after that, when I got it, like when you gotta get it, those are the times when you start to, all right, it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but I don't like it, but I'm gonna figure this out. Because I don't have a choice. But that's what I remember. And then I remember feeling good about now I can swim.
Yeah. And you couldn't stay out of the pool.
Exactly.
Because here's what the way my mother tells the story is, you were infatuated with water.
Wow.
We had just moved into this apartment complex, and your daddy came in town to visit, and I was telling him about how you wouldn't get by this water, and he said, if this motherfucker don't know how to swim, he gonna go over here, fuck around, and fall in this pool and drown.
That's right.
I'm gonna go throw his little ass in there while I'm there and observe and monitor him throwing in. Yeah. And he was like, because he got to learn how to swim.
Yeah.
He got to learn how to swim.
Yeah.
You live in an apartment building with a goddamn swimming pool.
That's clean.
She was like, no, go do it. He was like, my son, he going in the goddamn pool.
Yeah.
So that's how I learned how to swim.
Yep.
Now, I can't tell you if that's the right way. I can't tell you if that's the wrong way. Right. What I can tell you, though, is a lot of how our parents dealt with us and managed were encounters of discomfort and overcoming fear.
That's right.
So that they knew we had to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
7, 8 years old, staying at home.
Yep.
Don't open that door. Don't turn on the stove.
That's right.
And don't leave the house.
That's right. I remember, dog, my mom, like, going to school, dog, 3rd grade, I was catching 2 buses.
Yes.
Right here.
And that's 8 years old.
8 years old. And I remember the first time my mom would walk me to the bus stop initially, right? But she would stand back while I stood at the bus stop. And when the bus came, I'm getting on a bus with grown-ass people. And when the bus came, I looked back at her. She said, go ahead, get on the bus. And I had to get on the bus. I had to pull out my little token, put that motherfucker in there, get a transfer, remember to get a transfer, and then walk, you know what I'm saying, sit my ass. And the bus driver would sit me right behind him. And I would sit there behind him, and he'd make sure I got off for the first couple times. But then after that,
you didn't even he need to tell you when you got off.
About it no more.
That's how, now if you saw an 8-year-old on the bus, the mama literally ain't shit.
I couldn't even imagine me seeing an 8-year-old walk down the street, dog, alone. Like, what that would even look like. And how I would be like, what the fuck? Why is this kid walking around?
There are these expectations that we have that we need to let go of. What we want our kids to be ain't what they want to be. And it certainly isn't what we're preparing them to be. Owning your own business is hard, bro. Managing paperwork, even going and getting the licenses and going through all of the insurance and banking accounts and getting payroll fixed out and getting an accountant to manage that you're paying your taxes on time. All that shit, bro, that requires effort. Yeah. And you got motherfuckers who don't even want to manage their own calendar.
That's right.
You got people, you ask them, wait, what you got going on with that? I got to ask my dad. I got to ask my mama. Yeah. And this motherfucker's going to own his own company?
But dog, there is a starting point and then there is an ending point.
So
they got to start somewhere.
It starts with them.
Yes.
Wanting it.
Yes.
And it starts with us putting them in a position to demonstrate how much they want it.
Yeah. And to give them the discomfort that they know how to come out of.
And the shit is easier. So when you in a marriage and that marriage ends, and I know we're going back and forth between kids and motherfucking marriage. I think they're maybe they're the same thing, maybe they're not. But you're forced into that discomfort.
Yeah.
So you have to deal with it.
Yep.
You have to reconcile between what you wanted versus what's actually happening.
Right.
Most of us are being forced to deal with death.
Yeah.
Very few of us are choosing it.
Yep.
We're forced to deal with our moms going.
Yep.
If we had to choose, we want her here.
Forever.
We want them here.
Forever. Yeah.
So we've got
in that pool. We've thrown in that pool, dog.
thrown in the pool.
And all you can either sink to the bottom or you can look up and be like, I need to get there. And what does that look like?
I don't know. I don't know, man. But I know a lot of parents, especially our age with 20, 21, 22-year-olds, they struggling with things, man.
Yeah.
And there's this concept that we have of just our expectations of our kids is different than what, and I don't even know if that's expectations necessarily is a bad thing, because you should always want more. But what does more mean? Like, we don't even want more for ourselves.
That's crazy.
And like, how can the parent create a standard for a child that the parent themselves aren't even measuring themselves by? If you working at the IRS, nigga, you dreamed of that when you was a kid? When you was a kid, you're like, oh, I want to work at the IRS. I want to motherfucking sell real estate. Because a lot of this shit got to do with just, a lot of this shit has to do with what looks good, what's appealing to the social status.
That's heavy.
So that's what most of it is about. It ain't even because if you pushing your kid to be happy, let's say your kid is happy as a motherfucking clown.
Right.
Working at Harris Teeter.
Right.
And that is enough time, that gives him enough whatever it is that he wants to do in order to make his music or maybe do whatever it is that he wants to do to build something with his people or with his crew of folks, because they like making music and them motherfuckers are as happy as they ever want to be. Right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm cool with that, son.
Right.
But you can't be in my motherfucking house with that setup.
You know what's funny, dog? You're right. And then because that's not the story we want to tell our friends.
Nah, we don't
want to tell our friends, oh, how's so-and-so doing? Oh, he working.
He just picked up an extra shift at motherfucker. We're going to talk about Harris Teeter. Shout out
to Harris
He just
Teeter,
picked up he's got another shift at Harris Teeter. He's doing good.
Yeah, he's chilling.
The
with his
nigga
friends.
happy as a motherfucker. That's never brought
Joy.
into the equation.
Right.
Couldn't be happier.
Right.
But making $20 an hour at
Stress-free.
motherfucking stress-free at Harris Teeter, doing his thing, living and creating, might even be volunteering somewhere else.
Yeah.
But that ain't good enough.
Nah, we don't want to tell that story.
We would love telling the motherfucker that he a doctor and he working his ass off and stressed out and with a woman who treating him like shit and cheating on him and taking all his goddamn money. But guess what? He a doctor.
Right.
Like, these are metrics that we're using to create standards for our children that we didn't create because we want to keep the kid at the house waiting for that to turn that corner.
Yeah.
What corner?
Yeah. It is what it is.
He about to go from what? I don't understand. But this ain't about us. It's about our expectation and the discomfort that we feel, and just coming to terms with the reality.
Yeah, and dog. There's a, and you're right, coming to terms with the reality, because there's an expectation that you want your kid to be better, in a better position, education-wise, career-wise, economic and status than you were.
But who told us that is it?
Exactly. It don't.
Because it's not even, dude.
But that's the reality of it. But yeah, you're right. It don't.
We're not even doing it for ourselves.
Right.
And the parents, because we know how hard that is.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah. That's
Now
crazy.
we got the standard set. Now we put on the kid a high standard that we're not even holding ourselves to.
Yep. Yep.
That's not fair.
Nah. And dog, it's layered because on some level, yeah, you might have a kid that like these kids, and you feel like they're
That one's about to die.
All right. Where are we? What time? Are we on time?
Oh no, let's keep going though.
All right. And that the dangerous word potential, dog. And their potential is greater than where they are. Maybe even where you were.
Dude, so is ours.
That's true. That's all clean.
So is ours.
That's clean. That's clean.
We ain't all that energy we pushing into trying to get a kid to do some shit to go to their higher self and elevate. We could be doing that for ourselves. And that's actually a better use of the energy. And ultimately, it's providing them a real life example of what that motherfucking elevation look like.
But we see that as sacrifice. Like, I'm going to sacrifice my own.
We call it sacrifice, but really, we scared.
Right.
We scared.
Clean. That's clean, dog. That's clean.
Motherfucker been talking about opening his own motherfucking lawn care business for 15 years and ain't done it. Now you telling me there's more in me?
Right.
Nigga, it's more in you, Dad. Can you imagine that?
And you know what's funny? They see that shit.
Yeah, they do.
They see you say blah, 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 better, and try harder, and blah. But they see you chilling or see you not reaching. They see the fuckery that you do, and they like, what the fuck you talking about? How dare you? You know, it's the age where they get that shit.
They see it's built because you've been that way their whole life.
Yep.
You've been
crazy.
The parent has been mediocre the whole motherfucking child's life. And then when the child gets to a certain point, now you want to dictate greatness.
Yeah, you right.
Now you want to dictate greatness? Motherfucker, I'm about to go fill out an application to Harris Teeter.
Right. I'm good. I got my carts. I went to cart class. Shout out to Harris Teeter, man. Everybody that work at Harris Teeter, man, they good people.
Love Harris Teeter. I ain't never been in there, though.
You ain't never been in? You gonna love something you ain't never been in.
I feel like they do a good job of marketing.
Dog. That's my store, dog, Harris Teeter. Shout out to Harris Teeter. That's crazy, man.
And everybody, and I get it. The motherfuckers parents who are listening to this, they know you don't get it because you ain't got no kids. And you right, I don't. Because here's the reality. What's true is motherfucking true.
That's right.
What's true is motherfucking true.
That's right.
If you are a parent,
that's right,
and you are living and you watching this, and you're living your true dream, then yeah, you have given your kid the motherfucking example and blueprint of what living your dream and going after your dream and sacrificing look like. So yeah, you can set that stage and expect. But if you've taken your dream and put that motherfucking shit to the backside, now you're gonna say you did that because you got pregnant. The reason don't matter.
Right.
The reality is you where you at right now.
Yeah.
You struggling. Yeah. You trying to figure it out. Yeah. You might not have the most happiness in your life or whatever.
Yeah.
And so if that's you going to your child trying to get them to do some shit that you ain't willing to do, and because here's the thing too, they still in your house.
And dog, when you said, dog, that hit home for me when you said they see that shit. Because I've had conversation, tried to be like, look, man, we ain't none of us perfect. We're all trying to be better people, whatever that looks like. But dog, you can't levy on them expectations of consistency, of commitment, of quote unquote greatness if you not providing that example, dog.
You can't.
You could, but it ain't gonna be.
It's hypocritical.
Yeah, at the least, and at the most, it's virtually impossible because they don't have an example of it.
They don't.
They see you at the house chilling, eating, ice cream sandwiches, but you expect them to be out there working out at 6 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. They hear you on the phone telling somebody a lie
Right.
about why you can't connect with them or why you didn't go to this meeting or whatever the case may be. They hear you bullshit.
Right.
And then you go try to tell them about how bullshitting and not owning your responsibilities and how telling the truth is important.
Yep.
It don't work.
I mean, it worked, but it don't work well because it happened all the time.
You're right.
That shit ain't right. It worked, but it ain't right.
It worked, but you're right. That's
real, man. That's real. And that's the word of the, I don't know what the word is, man. Kick your kids out early. You can't levy on them something that you ain't doing, or you shouldn't levy nothing on them at all, and just let them exist how they exist. And kick their ass out and let them fly how they fly.
The way I had an old school cousin. He's like, man, the way you go into something is the way you go out of it. Because we create standards going into certain situations, and then you can always change. There's always an opportunity to do something different.
Yep.
But you also have to understand that the amount of time that it took for something to get to a certain point is going to take some time for it to shift.
Yep.
And so implementing a plan can be helpful, but there's always going to be a reason to keep pushing the shit and pushing the shit and pushing the shit.
Yeah.
The reality is it got to die.
Yeah.
It has to die.
Yeah.
And the sooner it dies, the sooner the new thing can grow and live.
Right.
But the other piece has to die first.
Yeah.
The old ways of thinking, the old ways of responding and managing and doing, this kind of stuff or whatever. If your kid, like, we're keeping the kids in the house, to your point, because we're expecting them to turn into like Martin Luther King Jr. Like this corner, like they're not. Like he gonna write his "I Have a Dream" speech when he get done with Grand Theft Auto.
Right.
That's not how it works.
In the basement. He gonna have an aha moment and create the next Facebook, sit in the basement right after,
Ain't gonna happen, dog.
Right after Madden. That's crazy, man. But it starts somewhere, dog. It starts somewhere. It starts with you. Because once you start to, once I start to understand the fuckery about me, then I could better show what the fuck that really looks like, dog.
Because all this shit in our kids is in us.
That's
all of the shit that is in our kids is in us.
That's the intro for the whole joint right there, dog. It's a reflection, like everything else.
The best thing you could do for your kids is fucking change your shit. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And really, that's the only thing you need to do.
That's it. Because again, when you looked at him 2 years old, two months old,
yeah,
most people are average, dog.
Yeah, at best.
Clean.
Yeah.
Most people are mediocre.
That's the definition of mediocre, just average.
No, I thought mediocre is below average.
A little bit, but I mean, it's in the average spectrum.
Right,
it's in there.
And then
that's average. That's most.
Yeah,
and then
you're right. Mediocre is average.
Exactly.
You're right. I got what you mean. I got what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? It's a range. It's a spectrum of, you can be above average, but you're still average, and then you can be mediocre when you're a little below average. But the greatness and the worst sits at the ends of those things.
And those expectations.
And it's okay to be average. Ain't nothing wrong with being just a, Nothing wrong with just being.
You ain't, I
Be
mean,
happy.
what's the metric?
Yeah.
Can you take care of yourself? Are you happy?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you helping others?
Yeah.
To me, dog, that's the motherfucking metric.
Yep.
That's the keys to the lock.
Yep.
I don't give a fuck, man, how much money you make.
Yeah.
I don't care what your desire to educate and expand and all of that motherfucking shit. Are you working to reduce harm in your life and in other motherfuckers' lives?
Yeah.
That's all that motherfucking matters to me.
Yep.
That's all that matters to me. And are you happy? Because
Yeah.
you have peace, you have purpose, all that kind of shit. And you could be figuring all of that kind of stuff out. But you making $1 million a year and being miserable is not a sign of success to me.
So just to put a bow on this shit, dog, where does the kicking them motherfuckers out of the nest fit in with that? Is that just to get them to spread their wings and figure out what makes them happy and navigate that shit, and wherever they land, that's where they land?
That's wherever they land.
Or is it to them to be the best them that they could be?
So I am assuming that people have been trying all kind of shit with their kids.
Right.
And they kids have demonstrated very little, if any, motherfucking aptitude for certain things.
Gumption. My father's favorite word was gumption.
And so you've tried,
Yeah.
maybe to a fault.
Yeah.
Apologize for the
Yeah.
fault,
Yeah.
and then just be like, okay, wherever you land is
Yeah.
where you land. But you gotta land.
So
You can't stay here.
So you're saying that's a last resort.
It's the last
After
resort.
you've tried everything else.
Yeah.
All right, that's a clear distinction, dog. Yes.
I ain't
Yeah.
saying you just bounce out on them, but like you've tried. Like you got people filling out paperwork for their kids, job applications. You got motherfuckers going on job interviews with kids. You got parents doing some of the craziest shit.
Yeah.
You got parents using college as a form of babysitting for their kids. You got parents pushing their kids into master's programs because they know that their kid can't make it in the real world.
Right.
And you filled out the application for them to get their master's program. You called the schools. You got them enrolled.
Yep.
Your kids ain't showing no motherfucking use pop's term, gumptions for nothing.
Yeah.
And you doing all of that shit.
Yep. Yeah.
See how they move when you stop.
Yep. Yeah, and that's your measure right there. That's
And
your
then
measure.
let them figure it out.
Yep. And if they don't, they don't.
You got 6 months. You've been living this one. I don't believe in motherfucking kids living nowhere rent free, dog. I don't believe in that shit.
What do you mean? You saying kids though? You talk about grown.
Like
adults.
If you
Adult
are
children.
working, bro.
Okay.
Listen what I'm saying.
Right.
I don't give a fuck how old you are. If you're working, you could be
Right.
15.
Right.
If you got a job,
Right.
you got to kick into the crib.
You gotta contribute. That's right.
I don't give a fuck how old you are.
You gotta kick in.
You got to get into the habit of contributing and understanding what that looks and feels like.
Yep. Yep.
Now, I'm not doing it because I need the money. I'm trying to teach a goddamn lesson.
That's right.
I might take the money that you motherfucking give me and put it into an interest-bearing account somewhere
yeah.
and give it to you and maybe use it as some more other shit. Maybe use it to pay it back to you when you come to me and need to borrow some money from some shit.
Yep.
Nigga, it's your money.
Yeah.
I've been keeping it.
Yeah, for sure.
I might do something like that, but whatever it is, you got to understand what it's like to give back,
To kick
to
in.
support. Yeah, that joint.
Kick in.
To support.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and that's no matter the age.
That's right.
Man, when I was 15, I was kicking in.
Gotta kick in. Gotta kick in.
Got to kick in. I didn't like how that felt though,
Nah, I didn't.
but
I didn't. But I had to.
had to.
I ain't no choice. I remember my first summer job, shout out to DC Summer Jobs, 14, 15, somewhere in there. That $200 check I was getting every 2 weeks,
Kick in.
kick in. You
Got to kick
something
in. Got to kick something.
You can get some shoes, but you got to kick something.
Got to
in,
kick
too.
something in.
Yeah.
And we can talk about like setting discipline and structure for what you do with your money.
Right.
But after a while, I have to start loosening the reins.
That's right.
To see what you do with the money once I ain't there.
That's
We
right.
gonna create a structure.
Yeah.
We're gonna create a framework, then I'll start peeling back and see how you do it. At some point in time, it's gonna be your own money anyway.
Yep. And if I gotta keep restraining you, dog, you just waiting for the moment where I don't restrain you no more to hit the strip club.
Then you get $120. You got motherfuckers, their kids buy $120 worth of shit, and then I'll get a $120 paycheck. They spend $130, and then they want to borrow some money until they get paid. Yep. You will never get $1 from me.
Ain't you working?
And you working.
Yeah.
Because you overspent.
Yeah. Kick them out, man. Kick them out. Figuratively and literally if you need to. Make them fly.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, appreciate you too, dog.
I feel like the conversation was kind of in a couple different places, but
it connects.
Yeah, we try. Yeah. And real talk, there are things that are happening in my personal life that I'm sharing that are just trickling, and because they're not about me personally,
right?
I would share the shit if it was about me, but
right.
It's hard coming into this space at times.
Yeah.
And I'm having difficulty figuring out how to leave that motherfucking energy at the door.
Dog, and that's part of it, dog. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I'm saying, we working through it however we need to work through it, dog. This is just, dog, we are documenting great shit here, dog. Good conversations, great conversations that we can look back on one day and be like, I remember I was in that space.
Yeah.
And see where where we all end up. Mm-hmm. All of us. Extended family, etc. All of us, dog. Kids, all that shit.
And I appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kick game proper. We got a shout out. We got a shout out.
Man, always, man. Come on.
Let's see what we looking like.
Come on, dog. Kick game proper. Say kick game proper. Always.
All right, much love, bro. Till next time.
Yeah, you know it.
Peace out.
Peace.